What's up everyone, my name's PlatinumHowler, coach of your Delta Gligars. Today I'm bringing you the finals of Season 6 of the NCL Blitzle division. We are going up against Matt and the Green Bay Golisopods. You can see his team on the right side of the screen. We played him in week 3 and we won 2-0 thanks to Jellison just having an insane matchup in this game. And also Toxic Spikes having an insane matchup. Toxic Spikes working with, or what's the word that I'm looking for? Complementing Jellison's set very well. So we don't have the same set on anything. We made a few changes to the team in anticipation of some changes that he might try to make. I don't necessarily think that he brings a radically different team in terms of Mon selection from the first game, but I do feel like he had a few suboptimal sets in the matchup, so I think he'll try to correct those, and these moveset changes are anticipating him trying to make those changes. So I didn't mess with any of the spreads on these mons, with one exception, with one small exception here, being the Porygon 2. But this spread I kept the same to be able to deal with Lele as well. And also, I'm gonna try to use this to come in on Melodic and trap it with Infestation, taunt it, prevent it from recovering, and try to whittle it down that way. Because if we can get Melodic out of the way early, then Mega Camerupt is going to be a really nice breaker for us mid-game. So that's kind of the plan with this Drapion. Originally we were Psychic Seed to be able to come in and get a Spadef boost the first time that we switched in against Lele. Yeah, this time we're just going Black Sludge to keep ourselves healthy. We can cancel out Scald Burn damage if he gets a Scald Burn on us with Melodic, so this is gonna be really nice. So Hawlucha, same spread. The first time we were a grassy seed because we had Rillaboom on the team, but this time we don't have Rillaboom on the team. Instead, we have Raichu. Mainly because Rillaboom just really can't do anything to Crobat. So yeah, it's kind of dead weight as long as Crobat is around, but Raichu can deal with Crobat a lot easier. So Swords Dance, Close Combat, Acrobatics, Sky Attack. Yeah, so I feel like I was gonna run Fling. I wanted to run Fling with like the TR 40 something or whatever, the TR for Overheat, whatever it is. But I feel like Sky Attack is just more reliable because I can fire it off against things like, basically everything not named Melmetal. I can click Sky Attack against and get my Unburden boost, and then hopefully just go to town. So yeah, that's the plan with this Hawlucha. Next up, Jellicent. Same spread, you know, it's basically the same moveset, except this time we have Recover over Strength Sap. Strength Sap was really good in this matchup, but not if he brings Substitute Melmetal, anticipating that, because otherwise I wouldn't be able to recover against the Melmetal, which means that I could get less Rocky Helmet Chip against him, and it's just an increased chance that he ends that exchange with his substitute up. You know, it could still very well happen where he takes out my Jellicent with still the substitute up, because my only attacking move is still Hex, which is pretty weak. But I feel like it's kind of necessary to take on things like the Lele, because after one round of Toxic Spike, that Lele just dropped to a Hex from my Jellicent. I might actually change this. We'll see. But regardless, it will need to be a Ghost type move so that I can deal super effective damage to Lele. Yeah, we'll see. I might end up changing this before the game. Well, I'll think about it. But Porygon 2, this is the only spread that I changed. Basically, all I did was move the 104 from defense into special defense so that I could potentially use this as a Lele switch in as well. I also removed Tri-Attack from this set because the only reason that I had Tri-Attack the first time was so that I wouldn't be walled by Mega Houndoom, because you can see Ice Beam and Shadow Ball are both resisted against Houndoom. But this time I'm just running Toxic instead, so if I could decide to lead with this, and if Melodic switches into me, trying to get a Toxic off against me, then if I catch it on a Toxic coming in, then it's just going to be so much easier to deal with. I like being Toxic would be so much nicer than it being burned, because coupled with the infestation chip, the Toxic chip will just rack up and it will be a lot easier for me to deal with it and hopefully get rid of it early on. So next is Mega Camerupt. Again, same spread. Last time we had Nature Power, which is not a good choice this time because Rillaboom's not on the team, so Nature Power doesn't really do anything. This time we have Heavy Slam, so we can hit his Taboo Lele. If he brings like an Assault Vest Lele, then we probably wouldn't be 2-hit KOing it if we didn't have Heavy Slam. So that's the reason why we have this time around. And then Stealth Rocks. If I get this in and in a position where I'm forcing a switch and it's pretty much Melodic that's going to come in against this like every single time, then I can get Stealth Rocks up for free, hopefully, because there's no point in me clicking any of these other attacking moves as long as Melodic is still around. So that's the idea. And Stealth Rock would be like my way of trying to chip down his team by hazards this time, because I don't have Toxic Spikes on the Drapion. And last but not least, the new addition to our team is going to be this Raichu. I think Reflect is really nice in this matchup because it makes it a lot easier for us to deal with the Garchomp and the Melmetal specifically. We don't have 8 turns of Reflect though. It's just basically just to help like support me switching into other members of my team, and it could also help like Hawlucha get up a Swords Dance if it's standing behind a Reflect against either the Melmetal or the, what's the thing called, the Garchomp. So yeah, if we have Reflect up, then we can set up in front of those two things. And then Thunderbolts are only attacking moves, so Garchomp can come in for free against us every single time. But if we have a Reflect up, then we can go into Porygon 2 pretty safely. And we can also potentially try to pass Wishes into our more physically defensive Mons that can deal with Garchomp fairly well. So that's going to make the team, and we will see you right back for the battle. Okay, we're back with the battle. Looking at the teams, we have both brought 5 of the same 6 Mons that we brought in the first game, in the regular season match from week 3. I have Raichu instead of Rillaboom, and he did not bring his Garchomp, which is mind-blowing. Instead, there is a Rotom Fan there, which was the transaction that he made immediately after we played our week 3 game, as a matter of fact. So I did expect Rotom Fan to potentially show up, but certainly not in Garchomp's spot. If it was going to come, I would have thought that it would have came over something like Cofagrigus, for example, but Garchomp not being here is pretty wild. Just one huge threat that I don't have to worry about, although Rotom is still good in this matchup as well. So let's just get right into it. I decided to lead with my Mega Camerupt to get Stealth Rocks up right away. He decides to lead with the Melmetal. And so I'm just going to get Stealth Rocks up. I was thinking he was going to switch out into Melodic, but he actually stays in, which is crazy to me, and clicks Double Iron Bash. I don't fully understand why. Because if Double Iron Bash was your best move to hit Camerupt, and also if you were just risking it turn 1 like that, like it's not even 2-hit KO against my Camerupt. So I just get Stealth Rocks up for free and Earth Power damage off against your Melodic. Unfortunately, he's not going to fall for my Infestation bait. He switches out the Drapion as I go for Infestation. So I'll get a little bit of chip on the Melmetal, And I'm definitely going into Jellicent now, and he's going to go for Acid Armor, which gives away that he has Acid Armor Body Press, Double Iron Bash, and then I don't know what his last move is. You would assume it would be something to hit Jellicent, but you know, I really don't know what it was. Because Acid Armor Body Press just does not beat Jellicent whatsoever. Here was definitely a bit of a misplay. He has shown, or I have shown that I have Infestation, so I'm trying to trap a Melodic. So he's not going to stay in with this against, or at least you don't think he would stay in. You don't think he would stay in after I've shown Infestation and I've shown that I'm trying to trap and get rid of the Melodic. So I honestly, on this turn, I should have gone hard into Raichu. And Raichu is so much better in this matchup because Garchomp's not here. He doesn't have any resistances to electric type attacks on his team, even though I'm like not super offensive. But like this Raichu set is so much better without Garchomp in the back. So at this point, I kind of realized, well, why didn't I go into Raichu to begin with? Now I could potentially predict a switch of his out into like the Rotom Fan or the Crobat or something to want to get a Defog and potentially just get this Raichu in. He actually stays in, so I could have just clicked Infestation and trapped the Melodic, even after I had already shown that I have Infestation. But yeah, so he goes for another Scald. We're just going to throw up a Wish, and then we'll Thunderbolt. So he goes for Shadow Ball. That's going to, after Leftovers, we're going to get back up to full. So yeah, you're seeing that Thunderbolt does absolutely no damage to the Cofagrigus, so it's not like the fact that he doesn't have Electro Resist is super helpful. But this time he's going to knock off our Leftovers, and I'm going to throw up a Wish and pass it into Mega Camerupt, because I'm pretty confident that this Cofagrigus can't do a whole heck of a lot to me. So I'll get back up to just above 80% with Camerupt, and I can fire off an Earth Power now. Melodic, because it went for another Scald and stayed in against Drapion instead of switching out, is not able to come in on Rocks plus Burn plus Earth Power. So that thing is down, and now Mega Camerupt is looking amazing in this matchup. If I get up a Trick Room, Mega Camerupt runs shop on my opponent's team. So there's no way that I'm letting it stay in there and take a Psychic, even if I could possibly live one, depending on what his set is. I'm going immediately into Drapion. I click Poison Jab because I can't prove that he's choiced in any way. If he clicks Moonblast, then he could 2-hit KO me from that range, so I'll get any damage off that I could. But he goes Melmetal. Melmetal brings in Jellicent. He predicts Jellicent to come in and gets his Rotom in. Goes for a Substitute. And right here, you see that I go for Hex. I'm trying to break this Rotom's Substitute, obviously. I said in the team builder that I was going to think about whether or not I wanted Hex over another move, and I certainly would have loved another move here that was more powerful than Hex. It's only 65 base power because he's not statused in any way. So I'm just like praying, crossing my fingers, that this does enough damage to break his Substitute. Otherwise, I could be in a little bit of trouble here. Thankfully, Hex does enough damage to the Rotom to break its Substitute. It reveals Nasty Plot. I'm not letting Jellicent take a +2 Thunderbolt right here. But I did expect him to go for the Air Slash. I did not expect him to let Camerupt just come in for free right there. I was hoping that Raichu might be able to live 2 Air Slashes and try to chip that thing down even more, but it doesn't live. But I still have one more turn of Trick Room, so I can bring Camerupt in, click Fire Blast, and Crobat's going to be sacked off, which I think was the best play possible that he could have made, because I don't think that Crobat was doing that much in this matchup anymore. I think Crobat was obviously there to check Rillaboom. Rillaboom's not here, so it's more or less expendable, right? So once again, the Lele comes in against Mega Camerupt, and once again, I'm going into Drapion, because if I get Trick Room up with Jellicent, Camerupt wins. So I'm not going to let it die at this point. And he goes for Psychic once again. He's going to go for Psychic twice in a row, which was a curious play, obviously trying to predict a double switch on my end or something, but I don't see why I have any reason to do that. Like, and even if I do try to make a double switch, as you can see, he's not choiced. So there's no reason for him to try to predict a double on my part, because Moonblast is still going to be doing lots of damage to whatever came in on my side. So the fact that he went for Psychic again, I trapped him with Infestation so he can't switch out on the next turn, and then the Poison Jab plus Life Orb plus Infestation Recoil was enough to knock out the Lele, even while I was burned. Now Melmetal's going to come in. I taunt the Melmetal so it can't Acid Armor or do anything funny against me, like it can't click Rest if that happened to be its last move. So Porygon 2 is now going to come in, get a special attack boost from download because the Melmetal is obviously much more physically bulky, and Shadow Ball from this range is going to be a 2-hit KO, and Porygon is basically just going to clean up. Cofagrigus is dropping to this Shadow Ball, and Rotom Fan is much too weak to be able to do anything against me. Comes in on Rocks. He's actually going to click Substitute and reveal that he's Sub-Salac Nasty Plot, which is a very interesting set for sure. But now he basically has to hope that he gets a crap ton of flinches against me, but he goes for Thunderbolt instead. Gets a full para, well, not a full para, no, he gets a para, but doesn't full para me, so I just KO him with Ice Beam, and we win the NCL Season 6 Blitzle Championship! Woohoo! Alright, so good game to Matt. We're both promoted to Zebstrika Division anyway, so there wasn't really too much on the line. Like, if you ask me, if I would have been satisfied one way or the other. If I lost, oh well. I'm just glad that it was a clean game. There was no like major hacks one way or the other that affected the outcome of the battle. So that's it. We wrap up the season with regular season and playoffs included with a 13-2 plus 44 differential. That will definitely stand up as the most dominant season I've ever had in any draft league. I don't see how it's possible I could do any better than I did in this season of the NCL. And it's crazy to me that I did so well in a Showdown league, which I've never played in before. Yeah, and also the other thing that blows my mind about this game, look at the Mons that hit the field in this game for me. Porygon 2, Tier 3. Jellicent, Tier 3. Drapion, Tier 4. Raichu, Tier 5. And Camerupt, Tier 3 Mega. My Tier 1 Hawlucha did not even hit the field in this game. I won the championship game with a bunch of Tier 3s and below against Melmetal, Tapu Lele. I think that's a testament just to how strong my draft really was. This was definitely a favorite draft of mine over the years that I've used. Like, I think the IBL Championship draft will live on as the #1 draft that I've ever had, and this one is probably #2. Like, me just abusing my low tier mons, not even relying on my high tier mons really to do most of the work for me. That really speaks to a strong draft, if you ask me. So we are the Blitzle champions. We will be tackling the Zebstrika division next season, seeing how well we can do against slightly better competition. That league, well, I've heard that the next season is targeting a mid-July start, so there will be about a two-month break, 2-month off season before we have any more NCL content coming your way. Yeah, so if you enjoyed this NCL season, please leave a like on this video. Catch up on all the previous videos if you missed any battles of ours. Comment down below what you thought of the season. If you would like to see more Showdown content in the future, and subscribe to the channel to make sure you keep up with all of our draft league content, Wi-Fi leagues included. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.